Big news today as the billionaire boss of Apollo Global Management has told investors that he will be stepping down after it was revealed that he paid convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein $158 million. Obviously, this is not the first big controversy involving Apollo. Notable that former President Bill Clinton, who of course happens to be tied to Epstein himself, also pocketed money from Apollo. In 2015, while Hillary Clinton was running for president, Bill Clinton pocketed $250,000 for one speech to Apollo Management Holdings. An article on this back from 2016 adds that the company declined to answer questions about Clinton's speech. It would not discuss the subject of his talk or any details about the event. A recent article at the New York Times opens saying the founders of Apollo Global Management, one of the world's biggest private equity firms, engaged in a brief power struggle this weekend over control of the firm, a rift that opened up after an inquiry revealed that one founder, Apollo's chief executive and chairman Leon Black, had paid more than $150 million to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. They continue saying on Monday, Mr. Black announced his plan to step down as chief executive this year. Quote, I have advised the Apollo board that I will retire as CEO on or before my 70th birthday in July and remain as chairman. The review ordered by the firm's board at Mr. Black's behest in October, after the New York Times detailed at least $75 million in payments, found that Mr. Black had paid Mr. Epstein $158 million in a 5-year period ending in 2017. He had also lent Mr. Epstein more than $30 million, only $10 million of which was paid back, the report found. Looking at a couple more articles with more info about the ongoing relationship between Black and Epstein. The investigation found that Black paid Epstein $158 million between 2012 and 2017 after the sex offender pleaded guilty to felony charges in 2008. They claim that this money was given to Epstein for advisory services that helped expand the wealth of one of America's richest men. While Black published a letter in which he admitted that it was a terrible mistake to associate with Epstein, also at the time adding, quote, like many people I respected, I decided to give Epstein a second chance. It wasn't nearly enough, as some asset managers froze their new capital allocations to Apollo. It eventually prompted Apollo to hire Deckert to conduct an independent review of Black's dealings with Epstein to clear Black's and Apollo's name. Here they list the key findings of the report. First, Apollo never retained Epstein for any services, and Epstein never invested in any Apollo-managed funds. Second, Deckert found no evidence that Black was involved in any way with Epstein's criminal activities at any time. Zero Hedge article continues saying Black believed and witnesses generally agreed that Epstein provided advice that conferred more than $1 billion and as much as $2 billion or more in tax savings, the report states, which article here points out, needless to say, is ridiculous for a person who was already surrounded by the biggest tax experts on Earth, who also happened to be Black's employees. The report supports Black's contention that he paid Epstein a fee he believed was roughly equivalent to 5% of the value that the late financier generated on an after-tax basis. It describes the two men's relationship deteriorating beginning in 2016 after a fee dispute, even though Black's last payment to Epstein was made in April of 2017. Black also asked employees of his family office, attorneys at law firm Paul, Weiss, Rifkind, Wharton, and Garrison, and other outside accountants, lawyers, and tax professionals to vet and challenge Epstein's advice when it was given. Once again, this article questions the newly released report, saying, while superficially all that is great, everything about this announcement stinks. Like, for example, why was Black ousted as a result of an attempted boardroom coup, with the New York Times writing that Black, quote, engaged in a brief power struggle this weekend over control of the firm, a rift that opened up after an inquiry revealed that one founder, Apollo's chief executive and chairman Leon Black, paid $150 million to Jeffrey Epstein. Needless to say, the so-called acquittal does not explain why Black is set to retire as CEO, effective on or before July 31st, but retain the chairman title and is to be replaced with Mark Rowan, who last July Apollo said would take a step back from his day-to-day responsibilities. And as the Wall Street Journal reports, Black paid Epstein, quote, a total of $148 million plus a $10 million donation to his charity, far more than was previously known. Meanwhile, according to the Wall Street Journal, quote, Deckert found the fees that the billionaire had paid Epstein were for legitimate advice on trust and estate tax planning that proved to be of significant value to Mr. Black and his family. In this article, they highlight another section of the report, saying one also wonders what were the, quote, unrelated personal matters that were invoked by Epstein in his emails to Black while seeking payment. More info from Bloomberg, they say Epstein helped respond to audits and advised on how to manage Black's art, yacht, and airplane, according to the Deckert report. Another quote from the same report says Epstein would get into the weeds on obscure issues about which otherwise highly competent family office employees were not knowledgeable. One of Epstein's contributions, according to the report, was convincing Black to focus on these issues, as well as meeting with his family and explaining how the estate was organized. He would prepare detailed fire drill plans, testing how Black's estate would be taxed under different scenarios. In a letter to Apollo's fund investors, Black wrote that he would cede the role of CEO to co-founder Mark Rowan on or before his 70th birthday on July 31st, while retaining the role of chairman. In the letter, a copy of which was viewed by the Journal, Black detailed other governance changes he is recommending to the board, including the appointment of more independent directors and the elimination of Apollo's dual-class share structure. Black also pledged to donate $200 million of his family's money to women's initiatives. Black also recommended other governance changes, including adopting a one-share, one-vote structure and eliminating the supervoting shares held by the firm's founders. He also proposed augmenting the board so that the majority of directors are independent. In his letter, Mr. Black added, quote, "It is important to emphasize that both Apollo and I condemn Mr. Epstein's reprehensible conduct in the strongest possible terms, and as I have previously stated, I deeply regret having had any involvement with Mr. Epstein." Please leave a comment and tell me what you think about this latest update. If you could give this video a thumbs up, remember to click the like button, that's greatly appreciated, and make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. I will follow up soon. Thanks again.